And this episode is sponsored by Emmy. Emmy is the world's first low-carb, high-protein, and 100% plant-based instant ramen. Each serving of Emmy has 21 grams of protein, 19 grams of fiber, and only 6 grams of net carbs. It's non-GMO and is 35% lower sodium versus traditional brands. With only 6 grams of net carbs per serving, Emmy helps you cure your ramen cravings and maintain your health goals. One of the things I like most is the convenience. Emmy is super easy to prepare in the microwave or the stovetop, and you can have a bowl ready in about 7 minutes. Unlike the sodium and preservative-laden ramen packs on the shelf, this product is packed with nutrients and has up to 35% less sodium than their competitors. So click the link below and use the code HAPPEN at checkout, or go to emmyeats.com/happen for $5 off your first order. That's emmyeats.com/happen, or click the link below and use the code HAPPEN for $5 off your variety pack today. Emmy is also proud to offer a 100% happiness guarantee, so you can try Emmy risk-free and decide for yourself if it's worth it. If you're not happy with your Emmy, they will offer you a full refund within 30 days of purchase. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're putting a new spin on a classic. This also happens to be one of my favorite pasta dishes. This is my recipe for baked ziti. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, guys, meet me in the kitchen. Let's make it happen. First things first, we're gonna get all of our prep work done and out of the way. As you can see here, we have some garlic that we're gonna mince up. We have 1 yellow onion. We also have some parsley, and of course some fresh basil, which is one of my favorite herbs, especially in Italian food. We're gonna get this party started by dicing up the parsley. I have a damp paper towel underneath my cutting board to prevent the cutting board from sliding on me. I have a nice sharp knife that I sharpened before we got started. And keep in mind, guys, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. You just wanna dice the parsley up nice and fine, make a couple passes back and forth until it reaches the size that you're looking for. And then we're moving on to our yellow onion. You can use a white onion for this as well. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna dice this up nice and fine as well. We really just want this to kind of blend into the sauce beautifully, adding lots of great flavor. You really can't go wrong with the combination of onions, garlic, and fresh herbs. Speaking of fresh herbs, we're gonna roll up the basil and slice it nice and thin. Some of you guys probably know how to roll herbs a little better than others, but we'll leave that conversation for another day. Once we have our onion, parsley, and basil prepped, it's time to move on to the garlic. We're gonna give it a light smash so we can peel the skin off nice and easy and set that aside. We'll be using the garlic press for that a little bit later. And now we have the first part of our prep work done and out of the way. It's time to move on to shredding our own cheese. We do this because the store-bought stuff has anti-caking agents like potato starch included, and that prevents the cheese from melting nicely like we're looking for. So we're gonna shred our own, but it's optional. If you're trying to save some time, the store-bought stuff will work just fine though. As you can see here, we're gonna shred ourselves a few cups of mozzarella cheese along with some grated Parmesan. There's that freshly shredded mozzarella cheese. I prefer whole milk mozzarella for this recipe. And now, my friends, we're moving on to the Parmesan cheese. We're gonna grate that as well. Parmesan cheese is absolutely packed with flavor, and it's perfect for recipes like this one. Just keep in mind though that it does have quite a bit of salt in it, so just keep that in mind as you're seasoning your food throughout the rest of the recipe. There we go. We got all of our cheese shredded. We got our veggies and herbs prepped and ready to go. The last thing we need to prep is our cheese mixture that's going to layer in between the rest of our pasta dish. I'm going in with some ricotta cheese, some sour cream, and my secret ingredient, which is this new boars and basil and chive cheese. This stuff is delicious, guys. Works great with pasta dishes. It's gonna pair nicely with the fresh basil that we already have in this recipe and just take things to the next level. We're also going in with about a teaspoon of minced garlic or garlic paste. You could also use fresh garlic if you want to. A pinch of red pepper flakes, both for color and a little bit of spice just to bring a little bit of heat to the party. And then we're gonna season it up with my all-purpose seasoning, or you can use a little salt and pepper. I'm also going in with some of that grated Parmesan cheese, some of that fresh chopped parsley, and then we're gonna get in there with a spoon or a fork and mix everything together until everything is evenly combined. A little bit more parsley for some color, a little bit more Parmesan cheese, because why the hell not? Mix as you go, taste as you go, and adjust the flavor to your preference. I can't wait for you guys to give this recipe a try. It's literally one of my favorite recipes of all time. I'm a huge Sopranos fan. I've watched it like 5 times, and every time I watch it, I get craving pasta. So baked ziti is one of my go-tos. And now, my friends, it's time to actually get to cooking. We're gonna warm our Dutch oven over medium heat. To that, we're gonna add 2 pounds of lean ground beef. If you wanna get crazy, you can add some Italian sausage to the mix, totally up to you. Still working over medium heat, you wanna break the meat up with the back of your rubber spatula. If you see any excess fat accumulating in your Dutch oven, you can skim that off with a ladle like you see me doing right here. I do like to leave a tablespoon or 2 in there to help cook those onions that we just added. We're gonna mix that in and then we're gonna begin to season. I like to season as I go. So we're going in with some of my all-purpose seasoning, which is a blend of salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. followed by some dried oregano. If you have fresh oregano, then go for it. I couldn't find it at my local grocery store, so I'm using the dried stuff. We're also going to add in a pinch of red pepper flakes just to balance out the flavor profile. Give everything a good mix. Make sure those onions are cooking evenly and getting nice and tender. Quick reminder, guys, that all the specific measurements and ingredients for this recipe can be found in the description box below, so don't forget to check that out. Once the onions get nice and tender, we're going in with that fresh chopped basil from earlier, and we're going to break out the garlic press and press ourselves 2 or 3 cloves right on into the pasta sauce that we're making. It's a nice meat sauce. Tons of flavor packed in there. There's that garlic. You want to add the garlic towards the end, that way it doesn't burn. Once you have all your other ingredients in there, you can add that garlic. It's going to be smelling absolutely amazing in your house. And now we're going to add our tomato products. We're going in with some tomato paste and a can of crushed tomatoes. I'm going in with a heaping tablespoon of tomato paste. You can use 1 to 2 tablespoons, totally up to you. It does add some concentrated flavor to enhance the tomato flavor in the recipe. I'm going to mix that in first, like you see right here, before we add the crushed tomatoes. Before we do that, our cameraman's going to catch us drinking on the job. Sorry, guys. Now we're going in with the red wine to deglaze the pan, like you see right here. We want to bring that up to a simmer. Get all that fond and deliciousness off the bottom of our Dutch oven. We want to cook that down and reduce it for a minute or two. You want to use a dry red wine, something like a Cabernet. That's what I like to use for this. You don't have to use a super expensive bottle either. Once we've cooked that down and reduced it, we're going in with our can of crushed tomatoes. Still working over medium heat. Break out the spatula and just mix to combine. You want this to simmer and cook down for a little bit. The longer, the better, guys, up to an hour or two. If you're pressed for time, you can get away with a 30-minute sauce, but I like to let this go for at least, like I said, an hour or two. That really allows the flavors to build and come together. Oh man, that sauce looks good. Look at the color. Now let's talk about noodles. I know this is a baked ziti recipe, but personally I like to use rigatoni noodles because they're a little bit wider and they can hold a little bit more of that delicious sauce that we're making. You want to boil your noodles to package instructions. Make sure you salt your pasta water. I'm not going to show you guys that because I know you know how to boil noodles. Get in there and check on your sauce. This is after about 30 to 45 minutes. You want to taste it and adjust as needed. We're going in with a little bit more oregano. Absolutely fantastic sauce. Just look at that. This stuff freezes really well too, guys. So if you have any leftovers, put it in a freezer bag and pop that in the freezer, and you can have yourself some weeknight spaghetti nice and quick. But that, my friends, is what a meat sauce should look like. And now it's time to build our baked ziti. Break out your casserole, dish, or aluminum foil pan for those that don't want to wash any dishes. We're going down with that first layer of meat sauce first and foremost. Next, you want to drain your pasta noodles and then add some of that meat sauce to the pasta noodles. Stir that around to make sure that they're evenly coated. That is going to be your second layer into the casserole dish. Make sure you spread that out nice and even, and then we're going in with that amazing cheese mixture that we made earlier. This is going to make the recipe extra creamy and delicious. We got all types of flavor packed in there. Smooth that out as well. And then surprise, surprise, we're adding some extra mozzarella cheese because why the hell not? We're here for a good time, not a long time. I like to cube the cheese up, add that as a layer. And then we're going down with some of that Parmesan cheese that we grated. And then you just want to repeat those steps until you fill up your casserole dish or aluminum foil pan if that's what you decide to use. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what other recipes you want to see coming up soon. Another quick pro tip, guys, is to put your casserole dish on top of an aluminum foil lined baking sheet because we're packing this bad boy up and we do not want it to spill over into our oven. And now for our final layer, we're going down with a little bit more pasta and then a little bit of that meat sauce just to top things off. And then of course, we're going to top that with some more shredded cheese right before it goes into a 400-degree oven. This is going to bake for about 25 to 30 minutes or until the cheese is bubbly, golden brown, and beautiful. Now it's time to pop that into the oven. Here's how we're looking after about 25 to 30 minutes. Say it with me, guys, looking good. We're going down with some fresh chopped parsley for a pop of color. You got to let this rest for about 15 to 20 minutes to let everything settle in there. You don't want to go scooping things out too soon. Oh man, here we go. Brace yourself for a trademark money shot. That looks absolutely delicious. You guys have got to give this recipe a try. It reheats really well so you can make it for the week. It also freezes really well for your leftovers. We're going down with a little bit more shredded cheese, and I'm grabbing a fork to get in here for a taste test because I cannot wait any longer. This is definitely against my diet, but oh well. Here we go, nice big bite. You guys know this is a fork drop recipe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give your boy a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell to enable notifications. And as always, thank you for your support.